Hello everyone, this is Race-Based. In the previous video I introduced the Petal launcher, which is a means by which we can easily launch 100-meter long vessels at one go instead of having to launch them in various chunks and then assemble them in orbit. And here we see, if I extend these, there is a ship in the middle, but we also have the launcher wrapping around it. It's got the base here where the ship actually sits inside, and ideally it would probably have some supports there. And we have boosters. I'm just using the Bolo boosters from the Artemis Construction Kit mod, since I have been using those for SLS and I decided that they were good enough. They fit right in at the moment. The launch clamps, of course, wouldn't be still there. And unlike in the previous video, now this has the RCS thrusters. You can sort of see the black spots up there. And also the engines built into the flaps or petals. And I went through how they tuck into the center of the core, but we might as well see that once again. I'll use the deploy limit. The bottom of the rocket drops down, the engines tuck in like that, and technically the there's a portion here which would be sort of squishable foam kind of stuff in order to cushion them, so the fact that they're clipping into that is fine. But yeah, it deploys like that and then goes up like that. So this is the launch situation with the tiles. The dry mass of this is about 300 tons. So I think the dry mass then is heavier than for super heavy, though its form factor would definitely justify that. We're not utilizing the tanks to their maximum volume on this. We're using about 55% right now. I upped it since the last time, since I saw in when I brought it in here last time that the thrust weight ratio was a bit high. I was always intending to use some boosters, so this suited me a little bit better. So we can see a liftoff thrust of 1.41. Altogether we have 9,500 meters, well, 9,470 meters per second. And so I expect that this can launch what we've got to orbit without any problems, but we should see. It is fairly thin and long, so that part's no problem. It shouldn't be getting extra drag, but who knows. I think this is worthy of launching from Tampico here. Thanks to the solid boosters, this is heavier now on the pad than I initially intended for it to be. I wanted it to be, in the Starship Super Heavy range, but now we're at 6,457. Liquid boosters would probably make that a little bit better, but this is good too. So I'm going to tweak this a little bit. We can probably start pitching a little bit earlier. I'll try a pitch rate of 0.5. I think this was for a more burdensome rocket. So with that in mind, let's engage and start. So again, this is for far future ships, and I figure that if they're going to launch a lot of ships that are really long like this, they probably make a launcher especially made for it. Unfortunately, a lot of the really advanced engines that we would have in the far future aren't really great for launching from the surface of Earth with. They are largely nuclear things that people will be touchy about when it comes to launching with them, so yeah. Anyway, here it goes. The SRB should make for a better plume, of course. Once again, I have come up with a launcher that is of a radically different shape than usual. I mean, it's pointy still. I mean, I've done worse things. I'm not using the SRB, ooh, that's quite a turn, SRB nose cones from the mod because I wanted to leave the normal SRBs out. I just wanted the Bolo boosters in this install. This is not the same install I was testing SLS in. So because I wanted a trimmer install of Artemis Construction Kit, I left those out. And I'm just using procedural nose cones. So the question is whether they're going to separate cleanly with the different nose cones, since I'm not using the ones that have thrust coming from them. Might have to add some little SRB to them to help. We will see. Unfortunately, the main engines get all quiet here. Even though they were making sound on the surface, they're now silent. Ooh, and they do lean in a little bit. Well, I'll have to adjust that. And then they sort of go all over the place. So, okay, well, we certainly heard them ignite properly on the surface, but now they're all silent. Maybe, yeah. Well, maybe that's accurate. I mean, of course that is technically accurate. I just don't want it like that. But there is the rocket sound enhancement. I don't know if it's actually doing this. Silent vacuum. I didn't want silent vacuum. But it's not really set to silent vacuum, so maybe it's just some other audio fault. Right now it looks like we're gonna make it with 337 meters per second to spare. It's also relatively quick as far as launchers are concerned, though the ascent guidance should probably be told to throttle down because it's gonna ultimately have high G-forces, and we actually have crew this time, though probably I shouldn't have put them in. There is no launch escape system on this. Alright, well, we're getting those high G-forces. 5-ish. I mean, somewhere in the options I can tell it to throttle down, but I didn't this time. We'll see if I can manage this. Okay. Alright, well, we are in orbit. It's trying to puff the RCS. No, it's fine, it's fine. You're close enough. It's trying to get to the exact number 220, but I'm fine with this. It's alright. We had 370 left. Let's see what the actual size of the payload is by separating it. So, extend. It's a bit crazy, admittedly. But purpose-built. Oh, those radiators actually extended, or I have to make sure to stop those from doing automatic. I did stop these, but I forgot about those. So these on the pod. I don't have to do this. All right. Separation, and the launcher should be responsible enough to RCS away. I'm not seeing the puffs though. Well, fuel is being used. I'm just not seeing the RCS puffing. So that's annoying. Ooh, a little bit of skew right there. Alright. It's free. And the payload mass, about 160 tons right now, with plenty to spare. Well, 300 to spare. Okay, well, we don't have any parachutes on here, but I still want to see how it does. So, I'm going to try and deorbit it with just the RCS here. There goes our ship. So this bit has 8 ED9 engines. They each get 4,000 kilonewtons. So the total thrust of this at maximum is 32,000 kilonewtons. Certainly much less than Super Heavy. But it's got the boosters, so it doesn't need to be that much. I'm interested to see A, whether it survives, and B, how slow is its terminal velocity. Also, whether it spins wildly out of control because of weird Kerbal things. To be honest, I don't know if I put any form of heat tolerance on this. I don't think I did. So it might just be bare aluminum and the heat tiles aren't. I think I should probably change that. Before we hit the atmosphere, I'm going to make sure that they at least have what RO thinks heat tiles ought to do. Yep, alright, that's good enough for now. Let me go do that. Hopefully this one in space will get that heat tolerance as well. Alright, so here we go. How will this work? It is currently turning around to retrograde. Probably I want surface negative. I have no idea. I haven't seen something shaped like this re-enter. Now we could change the deploy limit here. We could have it pointier like that. But technically then the engines aren't shielded, right? So... well, let me just re-extend this. So we'll see like this. It'll be interesting. I could create an extra flap to protect the engines even when the petals aren't fully out. Probably it'd be good for them to generally have the curvature of a heat shield kind of thing, so a little bit in might be advisable. Okay. Probably there would be some pistons between the arms and the core here. As usual, I've neglected such things in modeling it. Oh, we've got an overheating thing. This might not be enough. I'm gonna venture definitely not enough. Might be some of the other numbers. We'll see. Surprisingly little drag right there. But we were still at 91 kilometers, so that's a bit rough. I do want it to survive, so I'm just gonna up the numbers. Oh, poor little decoupler. Oh, I think it'll probably survive actually. Or maybe not. Okay. So, yeah. I'm surprised it lasted less time than the decoupler. Decoupler doesn't even have HRSI on it or anything like that. It's weird sometimes. Anyway, I'm gonna try and fix it. Alright, well I did the deorbit burn again. I didn't have to launch again, thankfully. I did have a save to save me from that. But let's turn around. It does occur to me, I don't know how well that HRSI tiles will do when they splash down though. Are they still reusable? I feel like that's doubtful, but I'm not sure. Maybe we could come up with some sort of waterproof solution, I'm not sure. Well, let's see. For all I know, if it already in action, it's not got the new heat tolerances. Plural because there's the max temp and the skin max temp. There's also a whole bunch of other numbers, but I didn't fiddle around with those. But might want to. If this doesn't work, I'll fiddle around with those. This might be too interesting a shape for Kerbal to be happy with. Thermally. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Oh no. Well, I think I'm gonna have to fiddle around with some other numbers. Possibly give it more heat tolerance than I was at all intending. It seems like this particular shape needs an unreasonable amount of heat tolerance. It has a fair amount of surface area, so probably shouldn't need more, but what can I say? It's exploding even before this thing does. It must be absorbing quite a lot of heat and not dissipating it at all. So, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.